Okay, guys, we have a very special guest here on the channel today, Andy Munro, also known as Munro's Jumpers, also known as probably one of the biggest football Guernsey collectors in the country. Is that right? Is that a good intro?
Um, yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I probably have one of the bigger collections. Doesn't mean it's the best or anything like that, but yeah, I just enjoy collecting footy jumpers and learning about all the history of our game.
We were chatting a little bit off air before, and you were telling me the story about how you got so into collecting Guernseys. Give me a bit of a rundown, give the people watching a bit of a rundown.
Yeah, so I collected soccer jerseys first. I play soccer, but I'm a very big keen footy fan as well. I'm a Crows fan, so just came across some old footy jumpers on eBay and sort of went from there. I discovered there's actually people who do collect footy jumpers, and then I sort of just like got right into it. And then when TikTok came around, I started posting videos on there about my collection and sort of just went from there. I was able to pick up quite a bit from my sort of video, my content over the past 5 years. So that's been the good part.
And do you collect them to then eventually sell them, or you just want to have them like as sort of keepsakes for yourself?
Yeah, mostly to keep. Some of them I do end up selling down the track, but I like getting the player issue ones, the match worn ones, because they hold a bit more value. And ideally, I don't lose any money on the jumpers I buy. Hopefully, they go up in value, but it doesn't always happen. But depends how they play.
How would you feel about the North Guernseys that you've got in the collection? Would you say they're probably going up in value, I would say.
Yeah, well, all the Toby Pink jumpers I have are suddenly getting more valuable week by week, so that's good. I'm
You
loving that.
you were saying as well off air, so Toby is originally from a town like an hour away from you, so like a semi-hometown hero, which I think is
Yeah.
hilarious. How have you enjoyed and found his rise in the past sort of 6 to 8 weeks in particular?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So I collect all the players from Southeast South Australia, so within a few hours of where I live. And he started off at the Swans, of course, and I couldn't find a Swans jumper. They're hard to get. So when he ended up getting picked up by North Melbourne, I was pretty happy by that, just because North Melbourne jumpers are a little bit more accessible. I can pick up a few, but it's feeling good that he's become one of the top defenders in the league, which is pretty funny.
It's awesome. It's great for us. I think we have been in desperate need for quite some time for a really solid key defender. So I didn't know or think it would come in the form of Toby Pink, but couldn't be happier for him. A great guy as well. So it's been awesome for him and obviously for us as well.
Yeah, it's good. I don't really have too many other like local ones in my collection, so I've been keenly watching him, which is good.
Well, the more he plays, and these days I feel like every week just about there's a new jumper that they play in. How do you feel about
Yeah.
that? Like, are you more of a, I know you obviously collect them, so you would be keen to see all the different Guernseys that come out throughout the year, but I just feel like I'm such a traditionalist, but we barely see, the traditional stripes or the bounding route, like maybe a handful of times a year each, if that. And then there's so many other different Guernseys that we play in throughout the year.
Yeah, I don't mind it personally, just being a collector, of course, but I think they're limited to 8 designs a year, so there are some limits. But particularly in that middle part of the year when you get Indigenous round and you get like maybe gather round jumper or whatever else, some charity ones. It seems like they're changing every week, but come the end of the season, we'll see a bit more steady jumper designs. But yeah, I don't mind it, but I can understand how it'd be too much sometimes.
It can be a lot, and there's a lot of memories attached to so many different jumpers. And this video will come out not long after North have celebrated their 100th year in the VFL/AFL. So we kind of thought, in honor of that, we would go through each collection and pick out a few of our favorites, a bit of a walk down memory lane, and a few potential stories behind it. Some weird and wonderful ones in there. In particular, you've got a pretty colorful collection, to be honest, when it comes to
Yeah, I picked up a
North.
few. Do we want to get straight into it?
Let's do it. I want you go first. I'd be keen to see, pick me like your favorite to start with.
Okay. Well, if we start off with the best, it's one of the better jumpers in my collection as a whole. It's a 1998 pre-season
Mm.
design, so the first year of this design, I believe.
Mm.
But the better thing about it is that it's a Boomer Harvey player issue. So
Love it.
he didn't wear this one. I think he was injured in that preseason. It was sort of, I think it might have been the year he sort of started to have a bit of a breakout, but
Mm.
that's one of my favorites. I love the 90s designs with the 90s logo and the Nike. It's got like the stretchy side panels. So I don't know. It sort of inhibits the design a little bit, but I don't know. It still looks good, but
I love that
this is one of
Guernsey.
my favorites.
Yeah.
The Murray Kangaroos used to wear this, which was the reserve side of North in like the early 2000s. They used to wear this until because they used to like spend games like between Albury and North Melbourne, but this one was just worn in the preseason.
I love it. I think it's great. I'll stick with the player issued stuff. This is one of my favorite Guernseys. This is a present. I've kind of ruined it a little bit. This is in the days where we actually wore Guernseys to the footy. I don't anymore. And I did have a few badges. So this one does have a few pulls in it. But this
Oh,
is 2008. That's Blake Grimmer's
very cool.
jumper. Blake Grimmer, everyone knows by now that I have a real love for niche footballers, and Blake Grimmer is no exception. This is the only Guernsey with a Vodafone. We had Vodafone as our
Mm,
for 1 year only. And so
yeah.
this was actually my dad bought it for me as a present, and it was purchased in a like an auction on the club's website, and they were meant to be for the 2007 Guernseys. And somehow, in the chaos and the madness, Blake Grimmer, highly sought after, Blake Grimmer's Guernsey from 2007 got lost somewhere in the and misplaced somewhere along the track. So the club said, "Look, we'll compensate and we'll give you the 2008 Guernsey." So that's it there. I don't think Blake Grimmer played too many games in 2008, but I'm very fortunate to have.
Especially in the long sleeve.
I love a long sleeve. That's my preference as well. Like I do love a long sleeve
If you're
Guernsey.
gonna wear it to the game, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of my most cherished, and that one lives on the shelf in the background usually, but I pulled it out especially for the occasion.
Oh, very nice. It's not a bad design, that one either, with
Read
the
it. It's
robo rule in it.
Yeah, it's kind of in 2007 we had our like Shin Boner of the Century campaign, and Glenn Archer was he won that. And that I feel like that's very similar to the logo for the I don't even know if there was a jumper for that, but the logo was the V with the royal blue in the background, and then there was like a silhouette of arch, and it's where the logo is on that 2008 Guernsey.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So, all right,
That's cool.
you're up, Andy. Give me another.
Um, One that is very desirable for every jumper collector, not just North Melbourne, is the orange jumper. Now, I don't have that orange jumper, but I've got like this red jumper. Now, I don't know, it's like for that dress, like you don't know what color it is. I thought it was like orange, this jumper, but then everyone told me it was red. So, this is a training jumper from '97. It's got the Nike swoosh above the AFL logo instead of in the chest, because this is when they sort of didn't know where to put it. There was sort of the early days of the polyester jumpers, and they didn't know where to put it. Number nine, which was Chandler, I think it was. Strangely, this is very large, so he was only a small player. So I don't know what the go is, but very cool. I have this in my background in a lot of my videos, and people ask, "What is that jumper like? What is?" It's probably the jumper I get asked about the most in my setup. So this is one of my favorite North for sure.
I feel like in the late 90s, it was very much the oversized and the tuck in. We get a little bit of like a bit of that with George Wardlaw these days. He wears like a slightly bigger Guernsey when he trains and he tucks it into the baggy shorts, and it's a whole look now. But I feel like that's probably why you've got such a big Guernsey for someone who's probably a little bit small.
Yeah, that could definitely be it for sure.
I reckon that's
Um,
very cool. I think that's sick. It looks like from like the camera sitting here, it's almost like a highlighter red.
yeah, it's like a in between, I reckon, in between the
Yeah.
orangey and red.
Like if a fluoro red was a thing, that would be it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah, I
actually
think
think it's
so.
cool. I rate it.
And of course, the Bounding Roo design, which I didn't mention as well, which is the iconic design, first worn in '95. One of the early. I wish I would had a '95 preseason. That was the first sublimated design worn in the AFL, or one of them anyway.
I think if anyone has any of the Guernseys that you're after, leave a comment down below or send me a message and I'll put you in touch with Andy. And if there are any missing pieces that I can help connect, the more North memorabilia out there, the better, in my opinion. So,
Yes, that'd be good. Thank you.
okay, I'm going to stick with the 90s theme. I've got a few, so I've got a few in bags, and these are player issued official club Guernseys that have all been sort of ticked off by the club and all that sort of thing. So, everyone knows and loves Darren Crocker at Arden Street. So this is Darren Crocker. I think we said it was 97, did we say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's a hooped longie, 97 Darren Crocker. The same.
Because if it was 96, it would have the centenary logo, but if it was 98, it would have a different color.
So this man. Why I've got this is why Andy's here. He's helping me decipher things I'm not sure about. I do know it is Darren Crocker's Guernsey though, and it is quite large. And then it's got that's obviously not the full team, but that's a pretty good portion.
Selection of
On the
signatures.
90 side, you can see, I can see
How
like
would you describe the number? Like the feel
it's
of it?
almost like the numbers. It's not stuck on, like it's printed in.
Oh, it is on those ones. Okay.
Same, it's the same material as the Guernsey itself, and it actually kind of looks. Don't you reckon it looks a bit skinny?
Yeah, they are very skinny. Like the AFL numbers were only standardized in 2007, so up until then, like they would vary for each club.
Yeah, so that's quite skinny for a double digit, I think, as well. So, um, I love this though. Like I'm a traditionalist, so and I love the long sleeve. So the long sleeve home strip, especially from such a successful era and such a well loved and respected, not just player at the time,
Mm.
Croc, but has gone on, he's a really important part of North Melbourne history. So very grateful to have.
That's nice. Well, North are lucky to have the hoops on the sleeves as well. Like a continuation of the design is always sick, I reckon.
Okay, tell me this before we move on to your next one. Last week we had the Bounding Roo Guernsey in our game against Carlton. Charlie Comben wore the sleeves, which
Hmm.
were hooped. But that
Really?
Guernsey, the Bounding Roo original Guernsey in the 90s, just had a solid block. I think it was block blue.
Yeah.
But last week, and I personally don't like it. Again, traditionalist nature. A few people I spoke to did love it, but I wasn't a fan. I think you either go the block long sleeve or you do the hoops that go the whole way down. I don't know
I
about the
think
Bounding Roo hoop combination's a bit
the
confusing.
sleeve should be a continuation of the top of the jumper, so it's blue, so it should be blue. But it's interesting they've done that. Maybe it was a bit of an oversight or something.
I don't know what it was, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's each their own, I guess. I'm sure some people
Yes.
loved that. It's all up for debate anyway. So it's each their own. So anyway, you're next. Show me.
Um, we'll move on to the late 90s. So it's
Mhm.
still the same design with that collar I mentioned, but the 1999 grand final jumper. So unfortunately, this one has deteriorated a little bit. It's just a stuck on. So originally, the normal AFL logo is on the other side, if you can just see that. And that was worn throughout the season by number 14, Brady Anderson. So he didn't play in the grand final, but I think this might have been worn throughout the season, this one. But very cool. I've got a Carlton one as well to match this. So that's the only year I've got both grand final jumpers. But
That's it.
yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long does it take you to track? Like, do you have a list of jumpers that you're looking for, and then it takes you time to actually track them down, or is it kind of just like you're just surfing the internet and you come across something that you don't have or something that you think is interesting and you snag it?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. So I one goal when I first started collecting was to collect all the 90s sublimated jumpers, so the polyester jumpers, because they were only used from like the mid 90s onwards. So I could get pretty much every design. So that's one thing I did track down, and this is part of that, just the North Home jumper. But some other times I just pick up things that I think are interesting, or I get offered things I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I wouldn't mind having that in the collection. So
Yeah,
yeah, nowadays I don't really have a list as much.
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like now it's one of those things where I feel like you'd get a lot of inbound messages of people who have things that they think you might think is interesting. But I feel like in the early days, it really would have been a lot of hunting and gathering.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. So I've been a bit, that's why I sort of been motivated to jump on social media and stuff to give me a few connections and little help along the way so I don't have to search as hard.
Yeah, like I said, North fans, if you have anything that Andy's after, get in touch and we'll be able to sort him out. I also have an grand final Guernsey, if I can find the one I'm looking for. Again, in the bag, it's come from the
It's
club.
even got the old bag, like the Hypertech PC bag.
I feel
Even
like,
that's retro.
so for full disclosure, a lot of these my dad has kindly lent us for the video. And I feel like his collection would be like your dream. Like it's all very much intact with all the, certificates and all that sort of thing. So you've gone 99, so I'll go 96. And this is the centenary year grand final Guernsey or centenary year Guernsey.
Yes. So I think that's just the one worn throughout the year,
It's the one
the
more throughout
centenary
the
year.
year. This was from a player called Chris Groom, who I believe he injured himself early on in the season. I don't know if he actually played that year, but again, a lot of signatures from, I mean, that 90s North Melbourne team was like star-studded at every line as well. So while I don't know how I feel about more than just the one signature of the player who it belonged to, I feel like with the 90s Guernseys, you can't.
Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, that's a really
That's nice.
that's a really nice Guernsey. That as well.
Nike did a great job. You're lucky to have Nike.
This is also in like this is part of the fabric, so this isn't like stuck on or anything like that as well. Um,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
some clubs did have sew-on ones, and some clubs like North, they were a bit more ahead of their time with Nike, so they were sublimated.
it's awesome. I mean, that's a rare North win is getting ahead of the time with the Guernseys.
And do you know the story of Chris Groom as well?
I don't. Do you? Are you gonna tell me?
Well, he was originally a Crows player,
Oh, there you
and
go.
yeah, so I'm a Crows fan, and famously he was traded for Andrew McLeod when Freo came in. So the Crows had a huge win there. He went over to Freo, I think obviously it was just for the year, and then he ended up at North.
Oh my
And
goodness.
the Crows got McLeod for the next 15 years.
Wow. There are some really interesting like trades like that. And we've had quite a few that are similar. Either we've traded the pick and then the pick's turned into the player, or you've traded the player and it goes one way or the other. Um, it always works both ways, hey.
Eventually it does, yeah. You think like with free agents and everything like that, it usually ends up evening out over the years.
I'd say so. I mean, for us, a big one for us was Wayne Schwass, who was a 96 Premiership hero. We traded him to Sydney, and we got Shannon Grant in return. And Wayne Schwass was amazing for the Swans in the time that he was there. But I think ultimately, given the longevity of
Swan.
Grant and what he did for our club, also given what Wayne Schwass did at North before he left, I think it's fair to say that North probably won that trade at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Give me something. Give me something not
Um,
so wonderful. I feel like these are quite amazing. Maybe something that is a little bit of a sight for sore eyes.
maybe the Argentina
Right.
design. So you got a matching one.
We
I
got
think
match.
mine's 2009. So I think yours matches because they changed the Kangaroos went below the Mazda the year after. So yeah, how would you describe the X-Blades material, by the way?
Also in the material. It's not stuck on or anything.
Yeah, but how like the material itself? How do you rate
Oh,
it? Because I'm keen to see what you think.
it's a bit stiff.
Yes.
Don't you
I
reckon?
describe it as toilet paper.
Yeah, okay. Because
It's
it's
got
got the holes in
perforations in
it.
it and everything.
Yeah. It's got holes in it and do you know what makes me sick? The only thing that makes me sick about this is that we wore this for 2 seasons. I think it was 2009 and 10.
Yeah, and I think it changed the year after that.
We've got one of each year. Like
Oh
this is
wow.
just one. I don't have the other one with me, but we've got both 9 and 10. So there you go.
Who's your player? Because mine is, I think it's Smith, I think. I'm not, you would know 18 maybe more than me.
If Sean Atley at the club then?
Josh Smith.
I
Josh
love
Smith.
Josh Smith. He was a failed
Yeah.
forward.
Right,
They
okay.
thought it was the next Wayne Carey. Um,
Yeah, right.
I
34.
believe this could be Warren Benjamin's,
Wow, okay, that's a rare name.
but
Ben Davies.
I mean, is that
Mm,
surely that's not Ben Davies' signature?
I'm looking at the wrong year. 34.
34. I think it was
Michael One-Key.
Michael Wonky. Because I was going to say, it's got MW here, right? And I was
There
like,
we go. Yeah, I should have looked at that.
but I was like, Marley Williams wasn't on the list then.
No,
So there you go, Michael Wonky. I don't think he ever played for North. Like he never
he's
played.
more of an SANFL player.
He was a is it Ruckman or key
Yeah,
defender?
like I think a key forward maybe. I don't know.
Forward? Like he was a key position. I don't think he ever
Yeah,
debuted for North, but shows how much I
there you
remember.
go.
And then that's one I just can't remember. And that's a forgettable Guernsey as well, I think. As well.
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly talk about the one behind me. I won't get that off because I don't want to try and get it on as perfectly as it's sitting there. So that Guernsey sits in my background. It's been hanging there since I brought this background in. That is the 2019 full team signed Guernsey. And the reason why that's the one that I've got hanging up is that was Jasper Pittard's best year at North Melbourne. And I don't know if I have one with Hugh Greenwood's autograph on it, like a full team one like that. And so my dad said to me, "You can, this is a lot of this is his." And he said, "I want to give you a present, like to put, in the backdrop." And I was like, "Well, Jasper Pittard was the other love of my life at North Melbourne. So I thought that would be an appropriate one to hang behind. 2019
That's
was a
cool.
really interesting year for us as well. It was Brad Scott's last year. We got rid of him in the middle of the year. And then Ray Shaw took over and we had some big scalps. Like we got over Richmond, who were flying at the time. We got over Collingwood, who were flying at the time.
Jeez.
We beat Hawthorn on a Friday night. That was another celebration that we had. I think it was like another anniversary or something. And that was the night before is the night that Ray Shaw was officially appointed as captain, of coach of North Melbourne. Um, Obviously the interim coach up until that point. So that was a big year for us.
And how do you rate the Canterbury jumpers? I really like how it's got the logos in that. It's like, well, it was like a anniversary year or something. They got like the club logos in it.
Yeah, it wasn't actually. See, there's like a little bit of writing just there. So that says
Yeah.
Shinboner as well.
Yeah. I think
Well,
that's on a couple of the other jumpers as well.
so it's
But
like
I was never a massive fan of Canterbury, but um, yeah, and like the blue as the home design as well. How do you feel about that?
I actually don't, I never liked it, but I think it pops really nicely. We've now gone back to the original strip for our home Guernsey, which again I prefer, and that's just me being like a bit of a, traditionalist, and I prefer that sort of stuff. But I actually, looking at that now, I actually quite like it.
Probably aged well, I suppose.
And I
Yeah,
don't know, it's fresh. I don't know. I
yeah.
like
It
it.
doesn't feel like it's not similar to Collingwood or someone like that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hated it at the time. I remember hating it at the time, but now we don't have it anymore. Like I do prefer our current one, but yeah, I like that one. I do like it. All right, one more. I reckon we'll go one more each.
Okay, so this one, 2005 Clash jumper. So I think it was the first year they had a home away and a Clash. So the white jumper here with the half rill on it.
I'll match you.
And you got the matching one.
I'll match
There we
you.
go.
The long sleeve.
The long sleeve as well. This
Yeah.
one is Reebok. So you got the Bont one. So the Bont jumpers are actually made by Seacom, I believe, but they're just called Bont. I don't know what Bont is. Obviously, we know the Bont nowadays, but I don't know what it was back 20 years ago.
What a
But this is
multi-talented
pretty cool
man.
because it's a Troy Makepeace player shoes. So a few times on TikTok Live, I've had his son and his mates join my live and say, "Show us the Troy Makepeace jumper." So I have to pull this one out of the collection and
And
show him.
that's
So it's got the really big numbers. So before they standardized it all,
this is 2006 Lee Brown, Guernsey.
it's a good player.
Another one of my all-time faves, which is why this was again a present from my parents one year for my birthday. Um, yeah, 2006. Loved him. And I clearly I love a long sleeve, right? I
Yes.
love these. I think these are great Guernseys. I think both the blue and the white are really, really nice.
Yeah, very clean. Like it's sort of a bit ahead of its time. We see the Giants now with their charcoal design. It's sort of a little bit
Yeah.
similar to this, just with the outline of the logo.
I reckon it's sick.
Mm,
Okay. I want to ask you one more question, Andy. Well, I've got the
yes.
opportunity. You obviously have seen many Guernseys in your time. Good, bad, ugly.
Yeah.
Where do you rate North Melbourne as a whole and their ability to put together a Guernsey and the design? How would you rate them amongst the rest of the competition? Maybe thinking about then and thinking about now.
Yeah. So when they had Canterbury, I was never a real big fan. I thought just with that blue home jumper just didn't really hit like other clubs. But as a whole, the 90s Nike stuff is top tier. It's unreal. And then nowadays with Puma, I think it's still pretty good. I think Puma are the best supplier and they've made some pretty clean designs. So as a whole, I think North are one of the better clubs. And the jumpers are pretty accessible to buy as well in terms of like the match worn and player shoes as well. So that's what I rate highly as well, the accessibility of them all, and it's not as hard to chase them down as like some of the other clubs. So that's always good. But yeah, I'm like the North designs. I've always got lots of different North jumpers to show people in my videos and whatever else, which is good.
Well, look, I'm glad that they rate not bad pretty well in your books. It's always great to have someone who can speak so passionately about something so niche. The way I talk about Hugh Greenwood, you talk about your Guernseys, so it's great.
It
Um,
works well.
Andy, if anyone wants to check out more of your jumper collection or if they have something they think they can add to your collection, where can they find you?
On Instagram, Munro Jumpers. I have other platforms on TikTok as well, Andy Munro. But yeah, Instagram is probably the best place to go. I'm also on YouTube as well, doing a lot of my country footy stuff as well. So that's another passion of mine, going to country footy games and ovals and retracing the history of all that as well. So there's a little other part of my content as well.
If you want to check that out or you think you have anything to contribute, Andy is your guy. Andy, thank you so much for coming on the channel. It's been so good and so fun to revisit a bit of history and some of our best and worst Guernseys over the time. I have no doubt when there's some more Guernseys coming our way, you'll be the first person to come on and talk to me about it.
Yes, that'd be good. Thanks, Marnie, and appreciate your old man for digging out the jumpers as well for us to have a look at. That's sick.
Yes, shout out Ron. Clearly you can see where I get my passion for North Melbourne from. And
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, a Guernsey collection almost as good as yours. Thank
Thank
you.
you.